Hi, everybody. Peace and strength to all. This is the Bible in History, a study of the Bible. I'm Nisi, the administrator. And as you can see, I have the Church of England, the Church of Rome, and then I ask, was there another church? So let's take a look at these names on the right. You'll see the Queen, the Pope, the Pharaoh, and the Lord. Okay? And these names match, okay, with the church. These names should match with the church. So what we had, to my surprise, was the Queen, who is the supreme ruler over the Church of England. The Pope, the supreme ruler over the Church of Rome. Question: was there another church? Was there another church? Because what we had during biblical times was the Pharaoh. And based on everything I'm reading, the Pharaoh is the highest ranking priest in the ancient world. But then what about the Lord? How do all of these titles relate to one another? Are they the same? Is the Queen and the Pope the modern day Pharaoh? But what about the Lord? So let's move to the next slide and I can show you some more information. So we have the Church of Rome, and we have, let's see, the Church of Rome right here. We have the Church of England, and the Church of Rome is said to have been ruled by Peter the Apostle. They say Peter is the first Pope. And when you think about the Pope and the position of the Pope, I don't know that we could look at it in any other way except for how it is today. Okay? And the Pope has a lot of, I don't know a lot about the Catholic Church, but I do know that there are a lot of bishops and cardinals and a lot of different official positions, a lot of duties, responsibilities, and then I believe there are different orders of priests and priestess. It's just a whole hierarchy, structure, just a lot of organization, okay? And so Peter would have been the first Pope of Rome, which is now the Catholic Church. And that means that he would have been over the churches of Antioch, Asia Minor, the churches in Greece, the churches in Africa, and Arabia, and wherever else they were. He would have been over those. And at some point in history, the Church of England was created. And I just found out that the supreme ruler of the Church of England is Queen Elizabeth. She's the supreme ruler. How did that happen? Well, I like to call it the John of the Baptist experience, because just like the king that John the Baptist spoke to about his marriage, and told him that he was in sin, and then John got his head chopped off, by the way. King Henry had a situation like that, and I don't remember if it was that King Henry, whether it was because he was killing his wives or that he kept marrying. But whatever it was, the Pope at the time took issue with it and rebuked King Henry, and King Henry said, well, you're not going to keep telling me what to do. I'll just start my own church. And that's what he did. He started his own, and that church is called the Church of England. And like I said before, the Queen is the supreme ruler of the Church of England. So we have a supreme ruler of the Church of Rome. We got a supreme ruler, the Church of England, and those churches ruled in well, here we are in CE, the Common Era, or what they used to call AD. But what about the Old Testament? Was there a church in the Old Testament? And I'm not getting into the deep definitions of church. I'm talking about an organization, a structure that had a ruler over it. All of the books that I've read about, not Mediterranean Egypt, not Greek Egypt, but the Egypt that was ruled by the Africans for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, the Pharaoh was the highest ranking priest in the land. But did he have churches that were under him that were worldwide in the same manner as the Church of Rome? It is something to consider, okay? Now, the Pharaoh was the highest ranking priest in the land for thousands and thousands of years. I don't know how long, but I know it was thousands of years. Longer than Rome, longer than England, longer than Greece. Until the priests of Amun, in the same manner that King Henry broke away from the Church of Rome, these priests of Amun broke away from the Pharaoh. And somewhere during the period, we get into the Bible now, somewhere around where Israel got its first king, the priests of Amun broke away from the pharaohs and became their own pharaohs. So you had two. You had the Pharaoh of the lower delta, and then you had the Pharaoh of the upper delta, of the upper area, lower and upper Egypt. And these guys stayed that way for a very long time. And this is why I wonder, and I'm asking you to consider, that there was a Church of Africa that no one cares to talk about, because, I mean, no one seems to care. But I think it's important. It would have been important for me if I had felt some type of connection outside of the spirit realm to the Bible, that my history was locked into the Bible, and that I don't have to be a Hebrew in order to be a part of the story. Okay? So let's take a look at this word, and then I'm going to stop. Here's a word that we hear all the time, because it's something else we have to consider, is the Europeans and what they were doing during this period. Okay? Europe was also called pagans, and I'm going to say that I think pagan is one of the least racist words ever, because I don't think they were talking about a color. Whoever came up with this word was talking about what the people were practicing. Okay, but here's the problem with the word pagan. There was no letter P in ancient times, and there was no letter G. So there's a process to this, and I really don't want to get into it right now. But I want you to take a look at this word, and you look into the alphabet. Find out what the original letter was for P. Find out what the original letter was for G. And then you can either take this letter, and it can go from left to right. Take these letters, make them go from left to right. And then you can read them from right to left. And tell me if you see something that looks familiar. Okay? And it's a video on Instagram that KRS-One did with Mike Epps, where he explains a certain word. And I'm going to end with that. Was there a church from Genesis to the last book of the Bible? And if it was, what was the name of it? Was this church in the same manner as the Catholic Church is today? And did the priests of Amun break away from that church just like King Henry did? Thank you for listening. And if you have any information, please feel free to share.